Uh, let's do. What was the first one we wanted to do? Data waves.
Sure,
That's what
that
it looks
sounds right.
like. Yeah.
I
So
believe
let's
it.
do that. Just copy the link, and then I'll say when we can both play it, so we'll be synced up, and it should show up on my screen here. There we go. All right, you got it pulled up?
I have it pulled up.
Sweet. So let's go ahead and play it in 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh. Very smooth. Not sure if I've heard this mix before. I've heard the track though. I think that cover art kind of fits this well. It's very spacey. Yep. Kevin King on the saxophone. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that was. You're right about the cover art. That's a very like that song could be playing.
Did it pause?
No, I was like thinking that I was listening through you. I didn't realize that
It was playing YouTube.
that the ad that was playing was on
Yep.
my end only.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah, because I clicked through this on like for those of you that use multiple browsers at home, I use Firefox mostly, and it stops all autoplays and ads on YouTube, but Chrome doesn't. So that was disconcerting for me. No, that's a song that like I could hear like if like David Lynch decides to do a fourth season of Twin Peaks, like that would be like could be in the background in the Black Lodge. Like it was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a great track.
Definitely. Yeah, I actually I'm not sure if it's the same recording or not, but I when in my music tech days, maybe it was probably late 2019 or something. We recorded the data waves for one of our mixing classes, and I think this was one of the songs that I might have spent like a few hours doing a mix for that class for. So it's definitely I've heard that sax part a lot of times. But this is definitely a different mix. I'm not sure if they re-recorded it or who mixed it, but um, I think it sounds pretty good. Um, and what we kind of do with feedback on the show is just high level impressions first. What you thought of the vibe and the track and the energy, and then we go into details of how's the mixing or the mastering on this, or the arrangement and length of the song, stuff like that. So just high level, I think we kind of talked about. My sort of impressions are uh, it's definitely like I'm trying to think about what the target audience or the target setting is for this kind of track. It's kind of a sort of long form, no vocalist type thing. Uh, you could definitely use this in some sort of low key setting, and it's good that it's that long for that. Contrarily, it's the opposite of like a radio hit where you want it to be super short and catch people's attention. It's kind of a background music type thing or a show type thing where you can just kind of groove. Um, but for that purpose, I like it a lot. I think it's a cool groove and it's catchy. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I don't think that they're like trying to put this like if my like my understanding of their ethos, I don't think that like they're like looking for like radio play with a track
Yeah,
like this. But like on top of the idea of it being like more of a like almost a soundtracky song or like a Twin Peaks vibe, there's also like there is a market for this in like the like this they could play this at summer camp,
yeah,
at 3 a.m. I mean, not that people have to be completely fucked up on drugs, but
inebriated. Yeah,
it would help with this track. I feel like for some people,
true.
for me, I just enjoyed it in general. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I think are we already delving into recording stuff?
Yeah, yeah. We can go into details if you have any thoughts.
I don't know why, but I like the all the rim shot sounds on the snare sounded great to me, and I didn't like the open snare sound. I have
Hmm.
no idea why. Probably it might just be a tuning thing or where the microphones were placed. But
Right.
for some reason, if I was like producing that track, I would have been like, we have to do the snare all over again.
Yeah.
Um, but like that's just personal taste. But it's very strange to really like the sound of the rim shots and not of the actual head of the snare. Um,
I might have a
yeah.
little bit of insight into that actually.
Okay.
Again, I don't know if they re-recorded this because I could be wrong, but it sounds slower than the way that we recorded it before. This version is super slow, low key. Honestly, if it were me, I would probably up the tempo by a couple BPM. There are just points when it feels like there's like a pocket for the groove, and I'm sort of wanting it to be in that pocket, but it's a little bit slower even. Maybe that's just a personal preference, or maybe it's because I heard it before slightly faster. That could also be it. Um, but when we were I don't know if this is the same recording, but if it is, we were doing this as part of like a class, and we had a pretty good mic setup, and our professor was helping out with a lot of it. Graham Duncan, I don't know if you know
Yeah.
him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we were recording with Graham in the music building, and I think we had like overheads on the kit, and I think we had two snare mics. Could be that one of the snare mics, was closer positioned in one spot, and the other one was out of phase or something weird. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I sort of feel like with the mix, um, I might be a little bit biased again because I've heard it in a different form before, but I thought there was maybe a little bit too much delay reverb on either the sax parts or some of the backing stuff. My only other mix thing was I wish the bass was a little bit more uh, defined, maybe. Like there were just points where it felt like there was kind of some mud in the bass that's kind of riding under there, and I would have liked to see that cleaned up just a little bit. But that's really the only mix things that I have, and again, not the kind of track that you need to make really short to be like super radio hooky. I think the length is good for the types of settings that it's intended for. But yeah, those are basically my kind of technical thoughts.
Yeah, I mean,
Later.
we're nitpicking, which
Yeah,
is
of
like
course.
which is what you're gonna do when the track is really good. Like,
Right.
I thought it sounded great. The tempo really didn't bother me at all. Perhaps because I don't remember the like
Yeah.
previous version, but and really like the delay and the verb on it and stuff like that. I mean, like that's kind of like some people's whole vibe, and that didn't like, or some songs or albums' whole vibes.
Right.
So that didn't really bother me that much. I felt like I couldn't tell if he was doing the thing that D'Angelo used to ask Questlove to do, which was to learn how to fall onto the snare just slightly behind the beat, because
Yeah.
it felt like that when he was actually hitting the open snare, um,
Hmm.
and I enjoyed the very dub vibe of this delay that was on the snare when it went back to the rim shot.
Yeah.
That made me feel like we were in Jamaica, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, again, this is all the kind of stuff that you start talking about when the track is good enough that you're just like, oh, here's a couple of things that maybe I would tweak.
Right. Of course. Yeah. So again, just for people who are new to here, the whole goal of the stream really is to try to give as much sort of critical feedback, some secondary perspective on your tracks. This can be really small nitpicky things, just so you can make the best thing possible for people to listen to. But I think what we'll probably do then is the ratings. So for those of you who are new, our rating scale is a 4-tier scale. Level 1 is this needs to be like re-recorded or rewritten, or something major needs to be redone. Level 2 is there's just some production tweaks that need to be done. Minor changes, not re-recording though. Level 3 is this thing is ready to ship out, but we maybe wouldn't personally add it to our playlist just out of preference. And level 4 is like, yeah, we would both add this to playlists. It's ready to go out the gate. And we're actually going to add all of the ones that are 4 level to our fast track playlist on Spotify and SoundCloud. So ratings for me, um, it's hard because I definitely like. I mean, I want to add all the Data Wave stuff to my library regardless, which makes it hard because I know them and I love the track and all of their tracks honestly. But for this one, I do feel like there are a couple of minor things that could probably be tweaked. Sometimes we do like decimal ratings where it'll be kind of in between two numbers, and sometimes to like a couple of decimal places too. It gets pretty specific. Uh, but I'm gonna say my gut is saying like a close to 3, like a 2.8 or 2.9. That's also considering the sort of phantom 4 of like I want to add it to my personal library. Um, but I feel like there are a couple of tweaks with mixing or mastering that could sort of take this up to that. Like I would listen to this shit every time I go somewhere music. But what do you think, Mike?
I mean, I'm delving into your rating system, which
Yeah, of
is
course.
different than my rating system. Because like I'm throwing that on playlists now after that,
Yeah, no, of course.
but but
Me too.
like that, but I like I understand the rating system is it exists for a reason.
Right.
I can get down with the idea of that specific decimal that you just threw out there, because
Sure.
I mean, like I do like it's, again, this is just like, if I could mix it, I would mix it differently. but like it wouldn't preclude me from listening to it or telling other people like, hey, like
Yeah,
I think this is a good track. So
of course.
I'm going to default to your rating, and that's fine. I don't want to
Fair
go
enough.
down to this. I don't want to go to the second decimal on my own rating.
We've done it before.
So what were you? You were at a 2 point.
Like 2.8, 2.9, something around there.
Okay, 2.9. Okay, I'll go 3.1.
Wow, okay. Cool.
Even three.
Even 3 average. Yes.